Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of my Immigrant Diary. My name is Precious.
My name is Wale.
Typically, immigrants around the world do travel a lot. Like myself and Wale, we do travel back and forth. We go back to Nigeria and other parts of the world. But one of the hassles we deal with, you can testify, most immigrants, most travelers deal with is baggage check, the queue, and the stress of just going through the checks. Recently, Wale had an experience and we would like to share with us on how we can go through security pretty quickly. Wale, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Precious. So I do want to talk about the reasons why you want to go through airport security a little bit quickly. Precious talked about it briefly, but for me, it could be that like you really need to be able to catch up to your flight as soon as possible. Maybe you're running late a little bit. It happens to a lot of people. That's one of the reasons. But if you're a frequent flyer, like you travel 2, 3, or even more than that times a year, you see a real reason to be able to go through airport security really quickly. So for me, those are the ways I was starting to think about, like, how do I get through airports very quickly. But there are more expensive ways to do that. One is like want to fly either business class or first class. That's usually
I would like that. I would like to fly that all the time, man. I would like to fly that. Well, anyways.
Yeah, that definitely helps you to get through checking and also getting on the plane much faster than any other passengers. But when it comes to security, everybody has to go on the same line. So in the US, there are a lot of great services that you can use, and I even saw a new one that has to do with some sort of mobile verification on one of my trips. For some of the popular ones that we have in the US is TSA PreCheck. That one is particularly used at airports, and it's managed by CBP, that's Customs and Border Patrol. You have like another option called Nexus. Nexus is if you live close to the Canadian border and want to be able to drive, especially if you want to drive back and forth, so you can use Nexus. With Sentry is used pretty much in the south at the Mexican border, so that helps you to be able to get through the border really quickly. And then there's Global Entry. Global Entry helps you to be able to get back into the US very quickly. So for each person, you have to understand the specific needs and what would be applicable to you. For me, in my case, I would say Nexus also applies because I live very close to the Canadian border. From time to time, I and my wife will always go there to go, whether I want to go for a day or an afternoon just to go and experience different things. Last year, we're there for the Christmas market, which was a lot of fun. And so that will be something that will be useful for me. But I also travel internationally besides Canada. So I had to think about everything and thought of like that, and I decided that Global Entry will be the right one for me, because with Global Entry, that also gives you TSA PreCheck. So TSA PreCheck, just so to be clear, TSA PreCheck is what fast tracks you out of the country. Global Entry fast tracks you into the country.
Hold on, Wale. Can you say that again, because I want to get that really clearly?
TSA PreCheck will fast track you out of the country, or to be very specific, it fast track you through US airports. As soon as you are coming from outside the US, you cannot use TSA PreCheck. You have to use something else. So that's what Global Entry does, and programs like Sentry and Nexus, what they do. So
that's interesting. That's good to know.
Yeah. So I don't know why they have just so many of these programs for specific purposes, but those are the things that you need to be aware of. So you can pretty much get TSA PreCheck without any of the other ones, but most of the other ones do include TSA PreCheck. For example, Global Entry includes TSA PreCheck, Nexus, Sentry also includes TSA PreCheck. I think they have conditions, but including it, but they do include TSA PreCheck. And unfortunately, at this time, I'm not sure whether it's a COVID thing or it's just how it's always been. To register for Global Entry, it takes a very long time to be completed. So there are generally 2 stages. I want to assume that it's very similar for all the other programs. There are generally 2 stages with Global Entry as far as the registration is concerned. The first is that you send in your application online, you have to go through a pre-approval process. So and then once you finish the pre-approval process, you now book an interview with a Global Entry office, or maybe it's a kiosk, wherever it is. You pull interview with that, and then you go and have your physical interview there. That's where they ask you questions about where you live, they take your bios, your biometrics, all of that good stuff. So, but unfortunately with Global Entry, it just takes a very, very long time. Sometimes 6 months, sometimes 8 months, depends on where you apply from in the US or I don't know what the other factors are. Maybe some things might even delay your application, or maybe some things are not wrong or incomplete, something like that. So it just takes a really long time. So that was for me. So I already knew I was going to apply for global entry, and I already knew I was also going to apply new of another program, which is called CLARE. Now, CLARE is private. CLARE is a private service that is comparable to TSA PreCheck. So basically, if you're going through US airport security, it can help you fast track the process. That's the whole idea. Actually, the registration is also very similar to TSA PreCheck, where you apply online first and then you go physically to the location, usually typically at the airport, to go and complete your registration over there. It's more expensive, but I knew that I was gonna choose CLARE because it's much faster. It's a private service. Not everyone is using CLARE, but more importantly, I had my eye on the American Express Platinum credit card. And with the American Express Platinum card, you have benefits that includes both global entry and CLARE services. So that means that, like, if I pay to apply for either CLARE or global entry, American Express is going to refund me back my money. So it's more or less that, like, I didn't spend any money. So that was my goal. So I had that plan for, like, 1 year or 2 years. I've been planning I was going to do this thing. So for me, that was the main motivation for me to go for CLARE, that I'm going to get it this way. I want to be able to save as much money as possible. So look, I already explained the registration a little bit, but it can be a little bit intimidating or even a little bit confusing if you have never used that kind of service before. For me, anyway, that's how it was.
Yeah, because while I have not used it before, so I'm hoping to really learn from what you're sharing, that I can take from your experience.
Yeah. So the online registration is pretty straightforward. Just give them your data, and that's pretty straightforward. The airport registration is a little bit different. For my airport, I was very, very lucky that they had, like, people who give you directions. So if you're looking around, if you're looking confused, there's someone that just says, do you need help? And there's always someone that will ask you that question. So, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because of that time of the year, because it was pretty close to July 4th. So a lot of people were there for the Independence Day. But anyways, that was my experience. I got to the airport. I was looking around. I found someone. I told them what I wanted. They just pointed me in the right direction. I just kept walking. Online, I studied how the CLARE logo looked like. So I was looking out for that CLARE logo, and I sort of had an image of how the kiosk is going to look like. So that helped a lot. So once I was walking down the airport, I saw them far away. I already knew those are the guys I need to go and meet. So it was pretty much straightforward. I just went there. There were people ahead of me. I think like 2 or 3 people, they did their own registration. It got to me. It was pretty straightforward. The lady just asked me if I've completed the registration online. Apparently, you can also complete the registration there. You don't have to start online. But I told her, I already completed the registration. Just pointed me in the right direction. Do this, look here, enter my data, give them my thumbprint and stuff, and that was it. As soon as I was done, I asked her, so what's the next thing? Where can I use it? She also just pointed me, go this way, turn this way, go through this specific security route. You're gonna see our kiosk, just go and meet them, they'll help you. And that was literally, my registration was maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Next, I went to the security. So the guys that actually help you to be able to go through the security faster, they are very, very close to where the security is. So generally, like, they're easy to find, but sometimes, like, I end up going to the security lane. So anyways, for me, in my case, I was able to find them, and there were some people ahead of me. I saw maybe like 8 or so people. I thought, like, seriously, it didn't take long. They had like 3 or 4 kiosks or so, if I remember correctly. So they were just invite you over to the kiosk, and then you go there. The machine is going to verify you using facial information and any other biodata that they can use to verify. Once that is verified, the CLARE staff will then take you over to the security, and they will vouch that this person has been cleared. Then you can go through the security. So it's like 100 people in the security line trying to get into the place where their bags and stuff are gonna get checked. I just skip ahead of the line and just go straight to security, and that was really, really cool. Now the TSA PreCheck, this is why I like TSA. With TSA PreCheck, you don't have to remove your shoes. You don't have to remove every other thing that they ask you to remove. You just, I think, pretty much just your bag that they check with TSA PreCheck, just put it in, it goes through, and then you just blow through. So that's another difference with CLARE and TSA PreCheck. With CLARE, you still have to remove your shoes and everything, because they just take you to the same security that they have.
Okay.
But with TSA PreCheck, my guess is that because it's the Customs and Border Patrol people themselves, they Homeland Security people that actually verify you, then you don't need to move your shoes and just put your bag in the security thing, it goes through and you just walk through. So that was my experience with Clear. Typically, I might spend like 30 minutes or so online at SeaTac Airport. That's the name of our airport here. But if I didn't have to register, maybe at most 5 minutes is what I was going to spend on the security lane and just go through security. So that makes it a lot easier to be able to go through security. That was my experience. I really love the service. I will always give it like 5 out of 5 stars if you ask me to give it.
Okay.
I definitely recommend it. That's my Clear experience. But in conclusion, I just want to say that you really have to look at what works for you. For example, if you are someone who lives whether in DC, New York, or any of the northern states, and you have family across the border that you're going to be visiting often, Nexus is something that will work for you more readily than Global Entry. So at the border, they have Nexus lane. It will work similar to a toll gate that you already had, like you have a tag there. So on your vehicle, it just blows through instead of going on the queue. And usually, like the queue, I think the last time we went going to Canada took us like 1 hour or so just waiting, just waiting on the queue trying to get in. So you can imagine, you already planned, maybe you want to go and see a show that's going to start at 6. You got to the border at 5. There's no way you're going to make it there early if you don't have way to fast track yourself. So look at what works for you. See if you can get it. If you can pay for it, that's great. If you don't want to get it, there's a lot of ways that you can use credit card to really offset those costs. And that is something that I advocate for, and something that we also want you to really be careful with when you want to do something like this. So
all right then. Thank you so much, Wale. It's just so many information. Even I would have to go back and watch this video again. To be able to, plan my trips and also plan taking advantage of this valid information that you just shared with me. Thanks. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Please support our channel, and also stay tuned as we bring you more informative, educative, and impressive content. Have a good one. Thank you, Wale.
Have a nice one, everyone. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye then.